Hello everybody, this is Carol from Friendly Quill and it's Tuesday, so I'm trying something new and it's really fun. I started it yesterday just to try it out and kind of get a learning curve because I've never worked with sealing wax before, and this uses sealing wax to attach like little pictures. See if I can get that to focus enough. Pictures onto paper or fabric or whatever, and it's on a paper clip, and then that slides onto a page. Now it's going to stick up this much above your page. If you don't mind that, that's fine, but that's the way this kind of thing goes. If you want, you can just put it on a pocket. Like if this was a pocket inside, it would be on my pocket, holding that on. I kind of like this. They're not too super thick, but you know, you can use them in different ways. Okay, so I watched Sweet Pea Curiosities, and she made some of these things. So I have sealing wax. I didn't have it, I had to buy it, and I bought a kit that came with the little thing, and then it had all these little little tabs of wax, and it came with the melting pot and everything. I'm also using some tweezers because you don't want to burn your fingers. I've got this on a silicone hot pad, and this underneath, this tan one, is a silicone mat for inside your oven. So I'm protecting my surfaces from anything, and I'm also being very careful not to get any paper near the flames so that I have a fire. But I am going to use some paper towel later, and I'll show you why I'm doing that. Now, and that's basically because when I watched Sweet Pea Curiosity, she kept putting her thing back on and it had wax underneath it, and it would catch on fire. And I don't want that to happen to me. So I also bought some of these, which are made to put in a hot melt gun. I didn't even know they had such a thing. But you can put this, you have to kind of have it as a default gun for only for this. You can't use it for other stuff. But it will melt it in a hot thing. But she said she buys them and she cuts off chunks of them. So I'm going to try that today. I haven't done that yet. And she also just did hers right on the mat. And then she went on the back and put more wax on. And then she glued fabric and stuff on the back. So I've been experimenting, and I'm doing it right on like a piece of fabric or paper or something. I cut out like circles like this out of book page and distress the edges. This is a piece of watercolor paper that was in eco dyeing, and that distress that. You can use this one isn't distressed, but it's a piece of coffee dyed paper. And then I kind of, you know, pulled out a few fabrics, and I have some what's it called? This stuff, cheesecloth. This is really, really wide open, busy cheesecloth. I mean, big holes in it. And I have a couple of, this is a that's a piece of burlap, and I'm putting it over paper because I figure the wax will go through and adhere to both that and the paper below it. But I'm going to show you kind of what I learned. I had a couple of fails. Some of my first ones, like this one here, I don't have the wax coming out all the way around. I kind of was off center, and then when I pushed it down, it came up real thick on this side. Now, I could still use it, but it's not the best. This one here, it's a kind of a big image, and I didn't get the wax to come out on the top and the bottom, only on the sides. So that isn't the greatest, but I probably could still use it. This one here, I tried like a little paper flower, and the wax smeared out all over, and it didn't even come out all the way underneath it. But I think I can still use this one by gluing it onto a piece of lace. And I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac and do that right now. I'm just going to put Fabri-Tac on the back of it because that'll stick to the doily piece that I have here. I'm trying to figure out which is the top and if it makes a difference. Okay, so I'm just putting that on. Now that would stick out like this out of the top of the book, and I think that's kind of pretty. And it hides the back, which is the really ugly part. So I think that works. All right, then some of the other ones I made. I cut out lots of little images that I had, like in, you can do this with, if you have digitals or a picture out of a magazine or whatever, you could use that. These I happen to have in little digitals. I put some wax on, and they are really sturdy. This does not want to pull out at all. So I'm not worried about them falling apart. That was one of the things that she was worried about. Two of them I made on some waxed paper that I had dyed last week. So they have kind of like a blue tinge under there. And this did not punch out well with my punches. Even with putting paper under it, it didn't punch out well. So I kind of gave up on that. This, I put a button on. And I just took an old button, an antique button, and put it on with a little wax. And it's very sturdy. That would be cute in a sewing journal or something. This one here is a bigger piece with, I put more wax on it and then put that image of a flower down on it. So when they stick up, you've got book page or fabric or something on the back, so it looks good from both sides. This one here was a bigger image, and this one it's not even here, but I still like it. It was brown. I put a piece of kind of a gauzy curtain fabric over this, and it stuck really well too. And then this one, I put the cheesecloth on over a book page dot, and so the back looks like that. And this is a label, and I just put the cheesecloth on top of the book page, and you stick I'll show you that, but you stick your paper clip so that the part that goes onto the paper is down. You have to make sure you do that. And that one I thought turned out really nice. So we're going to do some of those here, and I've already got some wax melted. So I'm going to try some different things. This one here, I'll start with this. Okay. Maybe, I wonder if I can go down a little bit, as long as it doesn't get too close. I have a jar of threads that I keep when I cut them off things, so I just took some of that thread and I jumbled it up, and I'm putting it on top of the book page circle, and I'm going to try to go down a little bit. So now I've got some thread on that, and I'm going to take the paper clip, and these are some paper clips that I use some It was something for staining metal. And not foundry wax. Distress, no, that's not it. I'll have to pull it out. And I'm just going to lay this on top of this. Now I don't want it too far up, because if you put it too far up, you won't be able to get it down on the page as far. So then I take my little wax thing here, and she kind of started on the top. And I'm going to dribble it around. This one is kind of oval, so I'm going to go up a little bit. Okay. Oh, this is where I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to wipe off that excess wax so that it doesn't catch on fire. I'm going to throw a couple more in there. And I need to place this on. I'm using my tweezers. I'm going to place this on here. And then I'm going to use 2 tweezers and just kind of push this down. And then you get that ooze out on the side, just like you do when you use a stamp. And then, voila! And let's see. Kind of was a little bit up, but you know, I can cut this thread off. But I got a little threads hanging out. It didn't show up as much as I thought it would, but I've got some threads hanging out there. Then you put it aside to dry. Has to harden up really well. This one I'm just going to do right on this piece of watercolor. And I'm going to put this, lay that down. I'm going to wait for a sec here because I've got that still melting. So I'm going to be doing, this one I want to do in black. This one I'm going to do with the red yet. It's kind of a coppery red, like, or what's that called, red gold or something. These I want to do with the screen, because I think that would look good with the plants. These, I haven't tried this yet, and I think they'll take a little longer to melt, but it's almost melted there. Okay, I've got 2 of them that I'm going to be doing with red. This I just cut out a little image of a plant. This is some book guts, and I'm going to do it on top of that. I can't do 2 at once because it dries too fast, and you can't squeeze it out if you wait too long. So I'm going to be putting these kind of next to the one I'm going to put on it, so I know how much wax to put on. And I'm going to do this kind of in a circle here. Again, I'm going to take that excess wax off. I don't need any fires. All right, it's not quite in the middle. There we go. I had to pause you for a sec because I don't know if you could hear that, but my alarm went off. I was charging my Axonic, that is my bladder neural stimulator. Okay, so this one I can move now, and I think I've got enough wax to still do this one without having to melt more. Okay, get it into there. Now, if you've worked with this wax before and you've done some seals, you probably will be better at this than I am. Gonna keep that hot because I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna wipe it out. Okay. I never did wax seals before. I might have done it like back when I was in high school because I used to write a lot of letters. There, that looks pretty good. I can't move it until it starts to harden up. So now when I'm going to change colors, I could leave that in to harden up and pop it out, but today I'm not going to do that. Look at the black on the bottom. I'm just going to use my paper towel to wipe it out, to wipe this color out. There we go. All right. Now, I don't know how much of that you saw because I have you down. But I took this just to make sure, and I wiped it out like this and got all the wax out of it. So that now it's empty and I can put a different color in. I'm going to put some of this green in. I know with these little dots, it takes about 4 for the first one and then 3 to add to it for each other one I do. Let's see if this, yeah, I can move that now. All right. We'll wait a sec for that to melt. These I can put away now because I'm not going to do any more with that right now. But there's some really pretty, you can do pastels. This one I want to do with black to see what that looks like. And these I'm going to try with this. Oh, while I'm waiting for it to melt, if you have something like a label or something cut out and it's too small to go in your punch and you can't get it in there, put it on, this is on a post-it note and it's on the sticky part, because then I have something to hang on to like this. And I am going to center this and punch it out. Then I take that little glue off of there. This one here, I hadn't taken the border off the other side, because that was narrow. Now I've kind of got, oh, I got black on my hands. I kind of have a an oval with corners. So you can go ahead then, and now I could do that. You can't, because otherwise you can't hold it in there. Let me pop this one in here too. I'm going to cut this smaller because I like the smaller ones better. So now I'm done with that, and I used it a couple times before. I'm going to get rid of it. That's what's going to go on. I could have left that one big, but we'll see. Okay, this is an experiment. I haven't done this before. I'm going to put this directly onto, I have a piece of fabric and I put the pretty color on the outside, and I have some cheesecloth over it, which I can cut extra off if I want later. And I'm going to do that. Put the paper clip on. Okay. This one's kind of a square, but I'm still going to do a round circle. Maybe I should put you down again so you can see what I'm doing. All right. You have to make sure you catch the paper clip under the wax. I'm going to wipe that excess off. Put it back on and throw in a couple more to melt. And use my thing here. Set it down where I want it. And then squish it. There. That looks kind of nice. And then on the back will be this fabric. Let's see. I am going to put this on here, and it's just some burlap, white burlap. That on. Okay. I do have a dot below there. Okay, keep going here. I'm going to do this one just on fabric too. This is a batik, so it's pretty on both sides. And I've got cheesecloth with that one too. Okay. How are we doing? Almost ready. Probably could put more in, but at a time, but I like to do one at a time, and it works pretty good. Okay. Just kind of holding the paper clip in place. Now, if you've done seals and you know a better way for me to do this, let me know in the comments below, because this is something new that I've never done before. So I'm just kind of guessing of kind of how to put the stuff on. Okay, now get my, oh, I didn't. Hurry up, because it does dry and it won't stick. All right. Well, she was holding it for a long time and stuff, and I don't think you need to do that. I think just putting it on works fine, and having the fabric already behind it, I probably cut that down or pull some of it off or something. Maybe make it look more fringy or something. But I still have to let it dry, but it's all stuck together really nicely. Okay. And I'm going to do this one. Turn the paper clip the right way, Carol. Okay, I'm going to do this one. I hope you don't mind if I'm taking some time here to do more than one of everything. It's really fun. I mean, like I said, I haven't done this at all with sealing wax. And I think it's kind of fun doing it. Okay, I think we're ready. Again, I'm going to do this one. On there. So, I kind of just jumped right into here. I didn't even ask how everybody was or welcome you to my channel. I'm so excited to do this. Don't have this in a very good place. I'm going to try to move it a little bit before I squish it down. So I hope everyone's doing well and you're having a good summer and lots of fun. And getting lots of crafting done. We used to camp a lot when we lived up north. It does stain the back of the fabric a little bit. Let that dry. This one I'm just going to put right onto the paper, and I have a green paper clip. I might have did that with these with alcohol ink, I think. Okay. I'm going to get this one down here ready too, but I'm not going to put it on until I've got... I always forget that I'm way down, so I hope I'm in frame. That one I got kind of far over, but I think it'll be all right. I'm going to put that on until I get this on here. Yay, don't want that to catch into there. Okay, put it down. Now, you could use a book, like, I'll show you in a minute. Let me get this squished. Because if it dries, it won't squish. Ooh, I like that one. You could cut pictures out of a book like this. Like, there's all kinds of little pictures in here. If you wanted to do flowers, you know, you could cut out of a picture like this, and you could use those. And this is kind of a heavy paper, so I don't think you'd need to back it with anything. You could make your little middle out of it, is what I'm saying. Find something that you can do. Now, I need to, should have did this. I'm just gonna, again, just get rid of this. If you're waiting in between, let it cool, pop it in the freezer, and it'll pop out and you can save the wax. Let's try some of these. I'm not sure how long it'll take to melt, but she said she did this, so I'm assuming it works. Yep, I can see it starting to melt. All right. I'm done. Back up. I put these in. I put a couple of these in here. So it's melting. Might take a while. I'm going to put this up here. That's the one I'm going to do next with this lady right here. I've got some cheesecloth. Again, I didn't worry about how much it was. I can always trim it later, as long as I can see what is beneath it, so that I can get that done. So these are fun to make, and I'm finding, you know, they're very sturdy. See the black on my hands from the soot. I cut a little of this off. Yeah, I like that. I don't know if I did that on camera. I just cut a little bit of this off. I keep forgetting that I've got it down close. That's taking a while to melt. I used, for the little ones, this size is from a 3/4 inch punch, and a lot of them some of them I cut with a 1-inch punch. And if I made the circle for underneath the 3/4, I made it with the inch size. And if I used a bigger one, then I cut the background bigger. This is a 1 1/4, so that I'd have something like that. And when these are done, when I'm done with this, these are done. She went back, put extra wax on the back because she was worried, because she did just on here with the paper clip, that the paper clip wasn't totally covered up. But this seems to work when you use this. It does, I think this is melted, but let's leave it for a few more seconds. The paper clip, she went to the back, put more wax on, and then added like a piece of paper or something on the back. And this seems to work just fine without doing that. Okay, let's see how this works. This is very metallic-y. I went for metallic. And one of my tiny little people. Sweet Pea Curiosities sells like a collage of all kinds of different little people. I need to switch that a little bit. There. Ooh, that looks pretty. I like that metallic in there. Get you back up for a minute here. These seem to take a little bit longer. Now, this is sealing wax, but sealing wax now has resin in it as well. And I think that helps it make it really strong so they don't crack and break. Like when I had a lot of pen pals and stuff when I was in high school. And in fact, I had my name, some people, nasty people in high school. There wasn't social media back there. So some of them sent my name to this magazine. It was for teens. It was called In Magazine. And they did they put like swinging 16-year-old or something like that. And they thought they were being funny. And I got over 100 letters. It was like in a pen pal thing. So I didn't write back to all of them, but I wrote back to quite a few, and for some I wrote for years. And one of them was a soldier in Vietnam. And I wrote all kinds of cheery stuff, just trying to, you know, give them something to think about besides war. So, anyway, I had a lot of pen pals. I digressed. And I took, this stuff spreads out a little bit more. But it's okay. I used to sometimes put a wax seal on some of my letters, but you use it and you used like, it was like a candle. And you would drip the wax, and then you would put your impression in there. But they didn't, they broke because they were just wax. So the stuff now has resin in it. And it works differently than the old wax, and it doesn't break the same way. Getting that in there. Okay. I want to do this one. This one. And this one, I'm not putting any fabric on any of these. They're just going to be like this. So kind of get myself lined up, and it's still melting. So back to pen pals. Did any of you write to people? I wrote to someone. I wrote to someone in Canada. She wrote to me, and we wrote back and forth. I even went to Canada to surprise her for her 40th birthday party. And eventually she stopped writing. And I'm not sure exactly why, but she did. But that wasn't that. I mean, she still sends me a Christmas card. That's all I get. And so it's kind of fun. And I wrote to someone in England for a long time. And eventually, you know, you get busy and life gets in the way, and you just lose contact with some of them. And I still have a friend I made that wasn't from back in high school, but I don't remember how I found her. But we went to quilt. It must have been on a quilt forum or something, because we went to some quilt national shows. I met her there, and we roomed together. We had so much fun. Okay. Guess I'm not doing too bad. We're at 37 minutes. I'm going to move this over a little bit so I don't have to move these. I'll have them all set up. See how I'm doing. I'm kind of poking it. There's still a little bit of stuff in there to mount. I think because they're bigger, you know, it takes a little longer. Like, I probably should use a knife and cut them smaller than the chunks that I did do, because I just kind of cut a chunk off with a scissors. I think if I used a knife, it might melt faster if I made them skinnier. Ooh. All right. Let's get this in here. I like these metallic ones. Those are really pretty. Looks like metal. Okay, I think I have enough in here. Spreads out a little bit more than the other stuff does too, so they're not exactly the same, but it still looks really good. All right, let's get this one in here. Sometimes I think I maybe have a little bit more wax than I actually need, but let's see. I don't mind having it bigger. Let me get that moved over a little bit, and now I'm going to push it down. I'm using the back works the best. Let's get some all over around it. Ooh, I like that too. Okay. I'm going to move out so you can see. I'm just moving these kind of all over here to dry. And I'm going to do one last one. If you are bored watching me, you probably are. The people who are still here are probably going to be here till the end. But I'm only going to try this black one. No. Yesterday when I did some, I left the little bit of color in, and I put the new color in. And I just kind of stirred it when I got to that point. Okay. This is a piece of fabric. It's not printed on both sides. But because I'm putting this on, I think it'll look okay. I'm pulling that out. Now with the black, I don't know, it might really go through and stain the back, and I'm going to be putting them on there. And I can always trim the fabric down if I don't like it, if it's too much. So I just really used to like to write letters, and now it's like I play games on my computer, and I really need to stop doing that because it wastes so much time. Whoops, sorry. I'm trying to get it to come back up. There we go. You know, I really just waste too much time doing that. So I deleted one game. It was like when I used to watch soap operas when my kids were little. I watched too many, and then one by one I stopped watching them because I thought I was watching the whole time my kids were taking a nap. I was watching TV, and then I didn't get anything done. Like I wanted to paint my porch railings. I didn't want to do it when my kids were up. But I was watching TV. So I decided, okay, that's it. I'm going to put the rest of that in there. Anyway, I stopped watching one because they were half an hour somewhere. And I stopped watching one, and then I stopped watching two. So then I was only doing it an hour. And then one of them turned to be an hour. It went into being an hour now. And I like that with the black. I probably will trim the stuff on the back. Kind of goes through and makes black. But that's it. And so then I went, you know, down to just the one that was an hour. And finally I weaned myself off and I stopped watching totally. And I started getting a lot more done. And that's what I have to do now with games. I need to stop. I need to stop doing games and wasting my time. All right, now I'm going to lay these out just so you can see. These are all of the ones. That one, the last one I just did. These are what we did today. Let's see here. And so I need to do that with watching games. I waste too much time. Like I said, I deleted one already, and I'm kind of weaning myself off of them. And then these are some of the ones from yesterday. Even the mistakes. So a couple of hours, I won't have to make these for a while. You know, I've got lots of them. This one ended up, I really liked it. And one with a button. Let me go down closer and just kind of show you all of them. There we go. So that's Try Something New Tuesday. And I hope you will join me in my next video. Do something today that you love to do, because that's the secret to happiness. This is Carol from Friendly Quail saying bye.